Hello, and welcome to What's Your Testimony? I am your host, Sharita Williams. I am a part of WYTV7 network, and tonight my guest is Dan Starks. You may know him from the show Don't Be a Victim or his show Partners Against Crime. Dan is a native of Rochester, New York. Dan, are you with us?
I'm with us. And I tell people I'm a recovering Yankee, just moved south.
I love that. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about you, because tonight we're going to be talking about human trafficking. So, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go right into and let people know exactly what human trafficking is and how important it is to report human trafficking.
Excellent. I grew up in Rochester, New York, and I went to all Catholic schools, kindergarten to graduate school, have a degree in psychology. And when I was in high school, coming home from a dance one night, my sister and a friend and I were jumped by a gang of about 25 guys. And we were beaten and stabbed, and it got pretty ugly. And we went to court, and the 4 kids that were arrested all got off of suspended sentences because their families were all connected to the mafia. So it made me realize then, even though I played football, being a big guy didn't really matter when you're outnumbered. So
Dan, I find that quite amazing, because people think, no, it's not going to happen in your back door. No, that doesn't happen here. That's something we read about, or that's something that may happen to a foreigner. But it's happening right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's happening right here in our backyard. So who is most affected in human trafficking?
According to the police, is that last year, so far this year, 78 victims have been trafficked. And it's an annual crime that exploits the most vulnerable people in society, though it really has no demographic restriction. Although the majority of victims are U.S. citizens, often young men and young women, young boys and young girls. It is not gender specific. It incurs forced labor, domestic servitude, and commercial sex. And it's hard to believe that it's happening in this city. Sharita, while we're on this TV show tonight taping, someone in this city is probably being kidnapped or taken off and being shipped overseas. Interesting. In my study, I work with children very closely. Our children today are not ignorant. However, they're innocent, and they often end up with disastrous results because these kids will post stuff on the internet that just shouldn't be out there. There's over 500 ads daily in Charlotte, North Carolina on social media soliciting sex. 500 daily. And these kids don't understand when they get on the internet that they really don't know who they're talking to. I have said for years for parents with high school kids, please don't put your kid's picture on Facebook with their high school soccer team or whatever, because pretty soon some predator is going to be standing off on the side of the soccer field someday and go, "Hey, Sharita, you remember me?" And they're going to use that gratitude to emotionally disarm these people and take them, and it's a shame. The sad part about it is, in doing the research, most of the victims went willingly with the perpetrators. They were not kidnapped.
Well, Dan, as a parent or as a bystander, what signs should we look for? You know, a lot of times modern day parents let the computer or the internet be their babysitter. What signs should we look for in the computer? Should we put more parental guidance on our children's computers?
I think it's absolutely mandatory to put computer guidance on our parental guidance on our computers. But I think it's even more important as to where the computers are located in the house. They should be in a public place like a family room, a dining room, or a den, not out in some child's bedroom. That way the parents can monitor their children's activity and find out what they're doing. And they need to check with these kids on a almost daily basis to see what's going on, because, as I've said, these children are not ignorant. but they're innocent and they just think that, oh, this guy really thinks I'm cool. No, honey, this guy's a real pervert.
So, Dan, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. People think, oh, well, if I'm in a crowd, this won't happen. But it does happen. I have found that or read that more people are being abducted as in a group as well as individual. So if I'm out, what am I looking for? Am I looking not to be in an enclosed area, or what am I looking for?
Well, let me put it this way, okay? 75% of assaults occur from behind. I think the most dangerous highway that we have in this country is the internet and cell phones. I see kids walking down the street, they got their finger on the keypad or their faces in the phone, and they're oblivious to what's going on around them.
And then I find that a lot of people say, that's not my responsibility, or I don't know who to contact. How do you know who to contact in this situation? We all know that you can call 911, but if you're in this situation, you're trying to get out. We know that there's a national hotline that people can reach out, and that telephone number is 1-888-373-7888. And that's the National Human Trafficking Hotline. But what other alias can we call if we need help?
All right, there's another national hotline where you can report suspicious activity. That number is also 1-866-347-2423. But I go back to the parents. It's the parents' responsibility to know what their children are doing. And parents are not being nosy or snoopy when they're snooping when they want to know what their kids are doing. The parents have had a lot more birthdays than the kids.
And that's something. Dan, a lot of times as a Christian, because we are WYTV7 is a Christian broadcasting network, and we sit around as Christians. Sometimes we may see things or not see things, and we wonder, should I do something? Well, yes, you should do something, because you are your brother's keeper. Going back to Genesis 4:9, you are your brother's keeper. So you should reach out. You should do something to help. And if you're a modern day person, you like to text, you can text Be Free. And that number for Be Free is 233-7833. Because we live in a modern age where people like to text. So text Be Free. Get some help. Get someone help. So how should we protect our family and our employees from human trafficking?
Well, I think the first thing you can do is to talk about it. And, the more people talk about it, the more they are aware of it. We have a tendency in this society to not want to talk about ugly, difficult things because we think it might make us more prone to have it happen. No, it makes you more aware of it. And if you're more aware of it, when you see something in public, you'll recognize it for what it is. I mean, it's not difficult to protect yourself. But the reason most people become victims is they don't think it's going to happen to them. So my goal in all these years has been to teach people why it happens and how to protect themselves. And it really starts at home, especially with human trafficking. When you realize that there's 500 ads posted daily on social media, and these kids are all over social media. Moms and dads today are not as hip with the computer and the cell phones and that technology. And these kids can worm their way underneath them. I really think it's critical for parents to talk to their kids about the thing and have a come to Jesus meeting about what's going on. And if you see something, say something. Doesn't mean you're bad.
Absolutely. So, Dan, do you put on workshops, or do you know workshops that you could tell our viewers about that they can get involved or send their kids or tell their employers about?
We do seminars all over the state. My website's www.danstarks.com. And my cell phone or my business phone is 704-392-SAFE. I do all kinds of safety and awareness. Matter of fact, we did safe.
Dan, we appreciate that. Now, I've got another question. Are men targeted? Because a lot of times we think women, little girls, but what about boys and men? Are they targeted in human trafficking?
They are. Boys are trafficked. I don't know so much as men, because men, are a little bit more aware of their surroundings. But little boys are trafficked almost the same number as little girls. And understand, these people are starved. They're beaten. I mean, they're forced to work as prostitutes or take jobs as menial labor for little or no pay. And every one of these is somebody's son or daughter. And the parents, I mean, I can't imagine for a parent when a child goes missing. And I've dealt with it for 20 years, and it's awful. Very difficult.
So, Dan, in your years of being in crime or criminal safety, how many people do you think have you helped or given information to help them be safe?
In all the years, it numbers is in the tens of thousands, because I've been doing it since 1988, and we often offer courses 3 times a month, and we got pretty good sized crowds, and it's been my goal to get the information out to people. I've actually helped people, and they've actually called me and thanked me for saving their life.
Now, Dan, do you have any workshops coming up in Charlotte soon or in the surrounding areas?
Yeah, if you go to my website, danstarks.com, and you look up either concealed carry or safety and awareness, the calendar is on my website. Or if people just want to call me, 704-491-5004, I'd be happy to discuss it. We put together seminars for any size group. I've become the realtor self-defense guru in the Carolinas. I've probably worked with every major real estate office in North and South Carolina. And I've done it because I believe in it. There's people have a dangerous, frightening job. And if I can, at the end of the day, when I put my head on the pillow, think to myself, I've helped save somebody today. I've made somebody's life safer. Then I know when I get to heaven, I'm going to have an open entrance.
So, Dan, do y'all put together packages for like employers? So, like, say for a large company would like to put on a workshop, do y'all have something in place for those companies?
Oh yeah, we do. We have all sorts of courses, and what I do, Sharita, is for instance, if you're an insurance company or a real estate company, I will focus on issues that specific group faces, because not everybody faces the same issues. So if you come to me with a business and say we want to put together a seminar, we'll do a little bit of a survey, find out a number of men, women, what they do for a living, and then we'll customize a course to fit your schedule.
A lot of times, Dan, I feel like people lose their focus. They get distracted by other things and they're not really focusing. And I think that makes you more of a victim. Do you agree?
Oh, I agree. I get so crazy when I see people walking down the street and they've got their phone in their hands, their phone up to their ear, because they're completely vulnerable and they're clueless. These kids don't realize 75% of assaults occur from behind. And if you're talking on the phone or texting, your mind is not focused on what's going on around you. I tell people, when you're in public walking down the street, every once in a while, stop, lean up against a building, and look at the people around you. Look at the people behind you. You're not doing anything odd or unusual, but you're gathering information which could be very useful and helpful to you.
Dan, well, we want to thank you. Can you give your website and your telephone numbers to our listening audience one more time, please?
Absolutely. My website is www.danstarks.com. My business phone is 704-392-SAFE, SAFE, and my cell phone is 704-491-5004. 491-5004.
Well, Dan, we want to thank you for that. And WYTV7 would like to thank you. And to our listeners, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. And if you have a story that you would like for us to hear or to share with our viewers, please contact us at WYTV7.org. That's WYTV7.org. And if you've enjoyed listening to our broadcast, please donate to WYTV7. That is our mission. Our mission is to educate, to empower, and to encourage. And we would like to continue doing that for the season of 2020. Dan Starks, we'd like to thank you. And we need to remember that we are our brother's keeper, and that we should always remember that we can run to God for safety, because Hebrews 6:18 let us know that. And I'm Sharita Williams signing off with WYTV7. What's your testimony? Dan, we thank you and good night.
I appreciate it.